Social Studies by David Byrne. I thought that if I ate the food of the area I was visiting, that I might assimilate the point of view of the people there, as if the point of view was somehow in the food. So I would make no choices myself regarding what food I ate. I would simply follow the examples of those around me. I would study menus very carefully, making note of important differences and similarities. When shopping at the supermarket, I felt a great desire to walk off with someone else's groceries, so I could study them at length and study their effects on me. As though if I ate their groceries, I would become that person. Until I finished their groceries. And we might find ourselves going to the same places, running into one another at the movies or in a shopping mall, reading the same books, watching the same TV programs, wearing the same clothes, traveling to the same places and taking the same pictures, getting sick at the same time and getting well again simultaneously. Finding ourselves attracted to the same people, working at the same job and making the same amount of money, living identical lives as long as the groceries lasted. Identity is a much more complex matter than we often realize. What truly defines an object or a person? Maybe you are what you eat, or maybe it's outward appearance that truly reflects identity. But could there be more to a cup of coffee, for example, than what is at the surface? And might it be the little things about us that really make us who we are? This collection of poetry will explore a variety of interesting ways of searching for identity. In the movie of my life, I Sometimes Imagine by Cristin O'Keefe Aptowicz. In the opening credits, I am riding the subway. It's a montage of all my morning commutes. My clothing and the books I'm reading change, but everything else stays pretty much the same. My weary character is messy but determined. The montage itself is supposed to reflect life's monotony, but there's pockets of humor too. The mornings I'm so tired I don't realize I'm holding my book upside down. The times I've accidentally worn my sweater inside out and backwards, small pale tag hanging like a flag of surrender at my throat. How I like to make eye contact with dogs in bags, their wet noses pressed against the mesh. Still, it's clear this movie is not a thin comedy. There's a real person here. I'm a real person here. I tend to fantasize about this movie the most while I am on the subway, pretend I'm being filmed, angle my face just to the left of where I imagine the camera should be. I pause to let my viewers see me. Really see me. My brain's director tells me my motivation. I am to think determined, sometimes deserving. I tend to think struggling, sometimes useless. But I push through it, and then at the perfect moment I swing my head right past the camera into what I assume is my triumphant future. I imagine this is where the film jump cuts to black, where the opening credits end and the real meat of the movie begins. Only I have no idea what is supposed to happen next. I haven't gotten that far. So instead, I go back to the opening, me in the subway again. Still. Sometimes I imagine the music playing over the opening credits. Is it happy? Is it sad? Does it make any difference at all? Time Study by Marvin Bell. The coffee was cold, so I said so. I said, my coffee is cold, and then I repeated it, but with a variation, something like, my coffee is cold, and I can say so. And I said, my coffee is cold like the Sahara at night. And I said, the Sahara is a lot like my coffee, which has cream, and it is cold, which means I have to say so, or someone will say to drink my coffee, which is cold, and the camels are asleep. Let's try it again, I said, taking a sip of coffee, and then not taking a sip, but still holding the cup. And I said, look at the cup and see if you can see the Sahara. And I said, it was in there a moment ago, but I took a sip, and it is inside me, I suppose. And then I said the same thing, my coffee is cold, and also this coffee is cold, to make sure they knew which coffee, not coffee as coffee, but coffee as a part of the whole, and also immediate in some sense, like waking in the desert. I write a lot about coffee, I said. And I said, I just need to see who my friends are, the ones who will stay till the end. And I added, I do not take death as a personal insult. And I said it was good to repeat things, but not ideas. And I said it was not good to repeat ideas. And I also said it was good to repeat things. And I said, my coffee is cold, and I can say so. And I said, when I say my coffee is cold, it is part of something bigger that can last as long as I say it is still is. And I said, my coffee is still cold at this time. Seen and Not Seen by David Byrne. He would see faces in movies, on TV, in magazines, and in books. He thought that some of these faces might be right for him. And through the years, by keeping an ideal facial structure fixed in his mind, or somewhere in the back of his mind, that he might, by force of will, cause his face to approach those of his ideal. The change would be very subtle. It might take 10 years or so. Gradually, his face would change its shape. A more hooked nose, wider, thinner lips, beady eyes, a larger forehead. He imagined this was an ability he shared with most other people. They had also molded their faces according to some ideal. Maybe they imagined that their new face would better suit their personality. Or maybe they imagined their personality would be forced to change to fit the new appearance. This is why first impressions are often correct. Although some people might have made mistakes, they may have arrived at an appearance that bears no relationship to them. They may have picked an ideal appearance based on some childish whim or momentary impulse. Some may have gotten halfway there and changed their minds. He wonders if he too might have made a similar mistake. This is a photograph of me by Margaret Atwood. It was taken some time ago. At first it seems to be a smeared print, blurred lines and gray flecks blended with the paper. Then, as you scan it, you see in the left-hand corner a thing that is like a branch, part of a tree, balsam or spruce, emerging. And to the right, halfway up what ought to be a gentle slope, a small frame house. In the background there is a lake, and beyond that, some low hills. The photograph was taken the day after I drowned. I'm in the lake, in the center of the picture, just under the surface. It is difficult to say where precisely, or to say how large or small I am. The effect of water on light is a distortion. But if you look long enough, eventually you will be able to see me. Thank you.